Back to the Future. We all know that this was the pinnacle of film foreshadowing and pre-programming. And we've all seen the decodes going back almost a decade. Many of those decodes on this channel. We had Twin Pine Mall, Lone Pine Mall, and a Trump character named Biff, who rules the world from his Trump Tower as the world descends into chaos. Remember that scene where Marty walks up to Biff Trump Tower amidst we're going to call them proton testers. And the scene is that of what we're going to call Andrew Arkey. Proton testers and Andrew Arkey. Well, it's happening right now. You'll remember that Marty watches a film of Biff and learns that film is of Biff marrying his mother, Lorraine Baines McFly. LBM. BLM. As Marty watches this video when he walks into Biff's Trump Tower. So we're going to be decoding that scene. Sorry for the little bit of confusion going on with this morning's show, but I wanted to break this show up into its own separate show because the topics that we want to cover this morning are so important. And I wanted to focus on this. Another thing that we saw in these Back to the Future films was the 5th of November. And it appeared in Back to the Future 1, I believe. We also discovered on this channel that same date, the 5th of November, appeared in many time travel films. The 5th of November marks the end of what is called Samhain in the witch's calendar, in which time portals are opened via human sacrifice. And the theme is repeated in the TV series Outlander, as these witches pass through the standing stones at Cavendish on the 5th of November. One of the very first episodes of that TV series, Outlander, shows the man and his wife, who would be time travelers, checking into a hotel, and them talking about Samhain, the 5th of November. And if you wanted to control a people and subvert a nation completely and entirely, how would you do it? Well, if you knew the future, it would be easy. So the question is this Monday morning, is time travel real? Now, we talked about this before, and what I came to realize is that sometimes everything is semantics. You could be saying the exact same thing as somebody else, but saying it in a different way and not even realizing it. So I began to think, how could this be possible? We know the elite like to talk about this idea, but if this was real, how could that happen? Well, the fallen ones, who were once angels, no doubt, they knew bits and pieces of the future of the world. How could they? Well, they were communing with God. The God of the universe, who knows the beginning from the end. And God was injecting these protectors, right? Because that's what they were. We have many stories of angels protecting God's people. He would inject them at key points in history to protect his followers. These angels were from the infinite, timeless realm, and they were inserted into and injected into the finite realm of time. Were these angels paramount to a time traveler? Well, that's my personal belief. Now, here's the problem. Some of those angels that knew the past, present, and future, they fell from heaven, did they not? We all know the story. The question is, did they retain some of their memories of God's plans for the future and the future of the world? Well, that's for you to decide. But ask yourself this: why is fortune telling forbidden in the Bible? Well, I believe it's because that these demons, they knew parts of the future. And if you were a person who was fortune telling, you would have to commune with these demons to find out what the future is, would you not? Unless you were a prophet of God and getting your information from God. Think about that for a second. And that brings us to cinema and film. Now, on this channel, we're guided by the Holy Spirit. We don't try to predict the future. We follow what God tells us. We walk in His steps. And then we look back in hindsight and go, wow, we were talking about 99 red balloons. And now all of a sudden, there's 99 red balloons on this map, showing what appears to be something we had already talked about. That's not fortune telling. That's walking in God's path, and then Him revealing that He tried to warn everybody. Trying to predict the future is forbidden. This is why we don't try to do it, because people have asked me, why don't you use this information to try to tell us what's going to happen next? No, we can't do that. It's forbidden. Now, yesterday we uploaded this montage of a film and a TV show that were both aired, or were at least filmed, before anything that is happening now happened, right? Yet, they seem to describe almost exactly what's going on now. Now, the montage that I uploaded over the weekend, I think it was yesterday, I've added to it, and that's what you're going to see here. I added some scenes from Back to the Future because I found even more stuff after looking into this a little bit deeper. And so this is what you're going to see here, and I will upload this montage. It will premiere like later today or tonight in its entirety. It's only 10 minutes long. But we're going to cover it on the show today. So you have not seen this montage yet. Now, remember in Back to the Future that there was a date that appeared. And you're looking at the readout here, a different date, October 21st. Something very creepy is going on, because remember, Biff is Trump. And this date, October 21st, is the date that he has chosen next year to push back the deadline for the real ID. October 21st. It also is going to appear in another film that I decoded, the same exact date. Is this some kind of a joke? Well, that's for you to decide. This date, October 21st, is the date that Marty first time travels. Marty from Back to the Future, Marty McFly. And this date is known as Back to the Future Day. You can't make this up. You can't stretch this. It's the date. And again, the very same date that Trump is pushing back this real ID. I kept looking at that date going, what is going on with that date? What is up with October 21st? I looked at it. I kept looking at it over and over again. I'm like, what is going on with October 21st? And someone actually found it on the channel in the comments section. October 21st is Back to the Future Day. So we're going to get into this. This is going to blow you away, what we found. Because it's almost like Trump's playing the role of Biff. We're not doing it, he's doing it. So, Back to the Future Day. Let's keep watching this montage here that I put together. Let's make sure we're connected first. Appears as though we are. Very good. Let's let this catch up. All right. Now, I guarantee you're not going to see this anywhere else, because there's something special happening on this channel. Let's keep playing this.
Shall cause for temporal displacement.
Now I put this in slow motion because as they go to 1985, 85, 58, you saw that the film cut away there at the number 66 first. I put it in slow motion. There's your 66, Trump's 66th floor penthouse. Is that Trump's jet? I don't know. But watch this. You can't make this up. Trump Tower is 66th. He has a 66th floor penthouse. But it only has 58 stories. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Trump Tower has 66th floor penthouse, but it only has 58 stories. It's the way he numbered the floors. I'm not making any of this up. You can go look it up yourself. So, here it appears as though we have some kind of a weird... Now, I did not edit this part. This is from 66. Now, watch this. It cuts away. There you see Marty and Doc Brown. Watch the countdown on the clock. It stops at 58. It goes from 66 to 58. As this jet almost hits them, you can go back and look at this yourself in the film. There is Trump Tower. 66 to 58. Let's keep playing this montage here. Now it's important to understand,
Let's put it in.
As they enter 1985, that everything that is happening now in our world, in America, and we can't even talk about it, is happening in this film. Casey, that's crazy. Well, this kind of scene happens in a lot of films. Well, I believe we're in a time loop. The film 1984 was based on a novel from 1949. That's 35 years apart. Well, guess what happens when you add that 35 years to 1984? It comes out to 2019. And that is when the current state of our world began to fall apart. On December 26th, 2019, when the smiley face eclipse occurred underneath China, and the CV was given a name on that day. That was the beginning. On Apollo's birthday, December 25th, 26th. Let's keep watching, because I believe that even right now, we are in the year 1984. Guess what the year 2024 will be in another calendar? It will be the year 5784 in another calendar, and I'll let you look that up because we can't even talk about that. Watch.
In the swing. Then I'll take you home and you can come back in your truck and wake her. You should be able to convince her that it was all a dream.
Wait a minute, we're just gonna leave her here on the porch.
Don't worry, she'll be fine.
I remember bars being on these windows.
So they come back to a 1985, and you see all these for sale signs. Biff Realty. Of course, Trump is a realtor, right? That's how he got his success. His dad gave him. Look at those are the 5G Wiz towers.
Hey, wait!
Freeze!
Remember, Lorraine Baines McFly, BLM, and there's MJ on the wall on the posters. It's Thriller time. He was born in 58, so you got more confirmations of the 58-story Trump Tower. There you see the militant black man. I believe these were foreshadowings of what is happening right now, breaking everything up, right, with bats and things and everything that's going on right now in the streets.
What are you doing in here with my daughter?
Hey, listen, I'm just in the wrong house.
You got that right, you know. I'm okay.
chases him outside. There's your Gee Whiz towers, because this is all about that. I know those are electric lines, but you got to think outside the box when looking at this stuff, right? Because the inference here is that these people are controlled. All this anger and hate is coming from an outside signal. And that's what is inferred here. As this man loses it, he's chasing Marty because Marty basically broke into his own house, right? It's all about real estate.
Tell that realty company that I ain't selling, you hear? We ain't gonna be terrorized.
You see this? Everything is opposites. You got, instead of the white homeowners, you got the black homeowners protecting their property. And there goes Marty. There's the scene right now happening in America. As he walks down the streets. Here he looks at the newspaper to see where he's at. And of course, it's 1985, which in reverse is 58. There's the 58 again. And the date of October 26th, that's Hillary Clinton's birthday. But it's also the 299th day of the year with 66 remaining. And when you look at these 99, 66 dates in the calendar, what they really represent when you take a 6 and a 9 is the yin and the yang. A cycle, a repeating. Okay? That's what it is. Now this is only occurs in leap years. Okay? But Trump has a very peculiar birthday with this 6-9 pattern in it. His birthday is the 166th day of the year with 199 remaining in leap years. 85, 58, 58-story Trump Tower. This all points back to Trump. As Marty finds out where he's at. There's his former teacher. And you see that this is exactly what's happening right now. And you have the white biker riots rioters. So everything's like flipped around. Okay. As the world descends into chaos. Now this is interesting because I caught something here. They call this a, what do they call this in film? They call this when something is an inconsistency or incongruity, okay, in a film, in which they make the set and then they add something and they forget to redo the shot and they hope nobody catches it. And so here's the scene. These are all the bikers. Here's your Trump Tower. And you'll see here that it says MAS. Now this could be short. I know it's short for massage, right? But it also could be mask. And look at the purse hanging from the trunk. This reminds me of the scene in the Batman film that we covered where the guy goes into the trunk to get his mask, right? With the Joker. Remember that video, that decode that we did just last week? So watch, because you're going to see this here, and you're going to see the X and the X and the X on this side. But in the next scene, this is missing. The MAS is missing. So this is what you're going to look for now. Watch. I think they did that on purpose. See? It's missing. Go back. See? Okay, there's the... See, it's missing. It's not there. And of course, there are your, what do we call them? They're in fatigues with bulletproof vests on. Right here. Put it in slow motion so you can see this all play out. Okay, there they are. Mart Law and Nat Guard. we'll call it, in the streets. You guys, I think we're here. I think this is it. Now, we'd covered this before and warned about this. We need a decode about this exact scene at the beginning of the Trump presidency. Got laughed off of YouTube, but now nobody's laughing anymore because it's actually happening. But it's in mirror reverse. Obviously, these aren't the people out doing it. It's what we just showed you, how everything's in reverse. And the signals through the power lines is somehow maybe prompting all this. The gee whiz. So there you see there's also an image of a tank rolling through the streets. More Nat guards. Lots of bikers. Let's keep watching. Now, you might find something in this scene that I might not find. Okay? That's why I play these things out for you. This says, Tanya, you worship her. She worships you. Bonds, it says here. There's the tank. Okay? It's happening now. For the first time in American history, so you gotta ask yourself, time travel, is it real? Well, for the dark and fallen ones, they have memories possibly of what God had in store for the future or the history of the world, and therefore they may know something. Necromancers tapping in, no doubt, to that knowledge, working with the fallen ones to find the future. You know, I should count the number of stories. That'd probably be hard to do. Count the number of stories in here. Now, this is Proximity. And this is the next set of films. This is what I released over the weekend. We're going to look at that now and break this down even further. Proximity, obviously, a direct reference to distancing socially, right? And this film is about a close encounter. This boy here has a close encounter, gets it all on film, releases the film to social media. A lot of people don't believe him. They think it's a deep fake. And he's on a vendetta to prove that it is in fact real. The government almost gets him, and he escapes. He has this close encounter, and in the end, he escapes these government people that are after him with the help of the aliens. But before he does, the aliens ask him, "Do you know who this is?" And they show him images of Jesus. And the aliens in this film elevate themselves above the Most High, almost making it appear as though they somehow created Jesus and they're just trying to find him again. Here's the deception. There's nobody above the Most High. Let's keep playing this. Break this down a little further for you guys. Proximity. Now, no doubt this filmed probably before all this went down that we're going through right now. These face masks are significant. Because they've got the spiral on them. We told you what the spiral means. It means a portal. It is also a Geppetto spiral. And for those in the chat that don't know what I'm saying, please help them. Please help them out with the terminology and the lingo. And there's many implications. Now, I want you to notice also that they are traveling in a train. The inference is that travel is part of this scene here. So let's keep watching. Listen. Now, these are the bots, and they are in the film Proximity. These bots are androids who are part of a world police force. And they go into different parts of the world and enforce the law, right? That's what they are in this film. So they're chasing this boy because they know he's had a close encounter, and they want to, like, you know, get all the information they can out of him, right? Now, why are they wearing these masks? You're going to hear that right now. But before we do, I want you to notice there's a smiley face on the front of this android's mask. We're going to get into what that means as well. Look at where he's sitting, 13AB. That's 1312, which is 313 backwards. That's the date that Trump established the national emergency, which would open the doors for all governors to follow suit in their plans for the CV. No other governors except Cuomo had done any kind of quarantine or zones or anything like that before that date. All of them picked up things after that date, which tells me that they had to get permission from the federal government to do it, and that's exactly what they did.
Here, put these on. What? The androids are programmed to use facial recognition for IDs.
The androids are programmed to use facial recognition for IDs. Put this on. In other words, it will hide your face. Hello?
The androids are programmed to use facial recognition for IDs.
The masks will confuse their cameras.
Here, put these on. What? The androids are programmed to use facial recognition for IDs.
So, here is the date that Trump pushed back the Real ID deadline. Now, obviously, he may not be president when this goes down. That's probably the way they want it. He actually tried to have it enacted this year on the 21st, 2020. Or I think it was the 1st was the deadline, October 1st. And he pushed it back till after his presidency. Oh, it says here. No, the deadline had been October 21st. So that was 2020. That was this year. In a few short months, he pushed it back. So he may or may not be president at that time. But this is the date. And this is the Back to the Future date. This is Back to the Future Day. You get it now? Are people starting to understand the role that he's playing? Let's keep going.
We are coming. Thursday, October 21st, 4 p.m., 48.45470 degrees latitude. Thursday, October 21st.
Thursday, October 21st.
So obviously I repeated that several times and slowed it down so you could hear that in the film Proximity, the date of Thursday, October 21st is the date of the arrival. The same date that Trump pushed the Real ID Act back to. And we just showed you how they put masks on for facial recognition. All of this is going to dovetail in together when this finally all goes down. When they finally force us to do this, all your privacy will be gone. Thursday, the 21st of 2021, 21st. You get it? That falls on a Thursday, just like the alien voice said in Proximity.
Thursday, October 21st.
We are coming. We are coming.
Thursday, October 21st. Masks will confuse their cameras.
The mask will confuse their cameras. Now, I put something else in this decode. This is an episode of Doctor Who from 2011. The Girl Who Waited is the name of the episode. Okay? Now, this episode was packed with symbolism of exactly what we're going through right now. In the episode, this girl here gets stuck in some kind of time loop and she meets herself much older. As Doctor Who tries to find her, she basically ends up traveling, right? Remember, the whole thing is travel, time travel, physical travel, trains, planes, and automobiles. Okay? And because eventually they're going to require these face masks to travel, or, facial recognition to travel, and face masks as well. All of this is foreshadowing, pre-programming. And in this episode, Doctor Who tries to find this girl. She meets herself, an older version of herself, as she ends up on a quarantine planet. Now, we did a decode on this. They were actually on a quarantine planet, and they send out these robots with, you'll see what it is because we can't say it, to try to give them a shot, right? Watch. So she's a time traveler.
You are carrying unregistered bacteria. Please let me help you.
You are carrying unregistered bacteria. Please let me help you.
No, I'm not from this world. Your medicine will kill me.
I'm not from this world. Your medicine will kill me. Watch. There's your 313.
Statement rejected. Do not be alarmed. This is a kindness.
No, please, I hate you.
Now, in the Doctor Who episode, The Girl Who Waited, obviously you saw what the robot android tried to do, and you also see the synchronicity between that scene and this scene from a film that just released in May of this year, Proximity. You see androids chasing these people down, trying to identify their faces, trying to, isolate them, quarantine them, find them. See how this all dovetails in together? And watch. This is so creepy. We just talked about this at Walmart, how they were testing all this out while we're all under quarantine and distancing. Walmart has implemented this right under our noses, testing it all out with masks on to see if they could look into our eyes. And whoever knows whatever other algorithms that they're running, our cadence, the way we walk, whatever the case may be, they're testing it right now.
Secondary delivery system engaged.
And look, it's literally a needle. So what I believe is that the VCs, facial recognition, and travel, they're all going to go hand in hand. And this whole thing about masks, was just a test to see if it all works, even if the face is concealed. Now, there's the smiley face. Just keeps popping up, doesn't it? It appears in Proximity. It also appears in that Doctor Who episode. We all know what the acronym is for WHO. Doctor Who. Doctor Who. Right? The Organization of World Health. A bunch of doctors. Now, we're on to something with the smiley face. It is the path of the eclipse. The eclipse that kicked all of this off. This eclipse was huge. December 26th, the day after Apollo's birthday, is when this all started. It's when they named the CV. It was first named, isolated, I guess you can call it. And this smiley face has shown up over and over and over again in cinematic history, representing spamdemic. It appeared in The Howling, Gremlins, anything that replicates out of control and causes fear. Fear is the common denominator. Fear is the central theme. And this smiley face was everywhere. It's in the Doctor Who episode. She draws a smiley face on one of those androids. And what you're going to see next is the actual solar eclipse that kicked all this off. December 26th, 2009. Why would they kick this off on a solar eclipse, Casey? Because they worship the sun. The day that CV was given its name in China. And as you can see, the eclipse goes right underneath China. There's your Smiley. They were mocking us at the Super Bowl. Before, we hardly had any cases here in the States. There were smiley faces all over the Super Bowl halftime show. Everywhere. Just go back and look. Take the time to go back and look at the Super Bowl halftime show. And you will see all of the smiley faces just mocking us. On ticker tapes, going behind J-Lo, on t-shirts of her dancers, in the graphic of the stage, smiley face, smiley face, smiley face. And the only people in the entire world who knew what that meant are the people on this channel. I don't even see this being repeated by other truth channels. But it's the truth.
Unauthorized infection on check-in. Version 223.
Version 223. That's 322 backwards. Now, here is the ending of the film Proximity. And the alien asks him, "Who is this?" And listen very carefully.
Who is this? Who is this?
Why are you looking for him?
Jesus.
In our observations, he is the greatest common factor in humans with strong amounts of this aura.
And for those of you that couldn't hear that, he said he is the greatest common factor in humans. Let me play that back because I couldn't even really hear what he said. The greatest common factor in humans.
In our observations, he is the greatest common factor in humans with strong amounts of this aura.
With strong something or whatever. Okay. Now, the problem that I have with that scene in the film is that it elevates. First of all, it takes aliens off the hook as being what we already all know they are. Fallen ones. Demons, right? In addition to that, it elevates demons above God and above Christ as some kind of a higher intelligence, higher power that maybe even created Jesus. This is the inference here in that scene. Like, oh, we're advanced beyond him, but we were just curious as to whether or not you knew where this guy was or who he is. You see this? It's all deception. And so that's why I included that clip. That's pretty much all I wanted to talk to you guys about today. I wanted to show you that clip and break it down a little bit further. And for those of you that are new to the channel who just subscribed, I think our new format is we'll do a short montage. I guess you can call it a teaser trailer For the advanced people on the channel, they know exactly what they're looking at when they see those short trailers. It gives them a snapshot into what later I'll put together as a longer live show. We do these live shows every morning during the week at exactly the same time, and therefore we'll break down those even further. So that's what I wanted to let you guys know. I appreciate the new member. It looks like we got a new channel member. For those of you that are new to the channel, membership is not required. It's kind of a little extra thing that some people have done to help support the channel in the midst of everything that's going on. But just so you know, once they demonetize a channel, they take away channel memberships too, and that's what they did on my other channel. And then at that point, we'll just resort to other ways of you guys supporting the channel. But as it stands now, I really appreciate the channel memberships. And those of you that came over from the other channel, I really appreciate that. So let's go into the chat here. Who is our new channel member? Let's take a look here. See if there's any questions. Now, apologies for repeating the scenes, but these scenes go by so fast. I have to slow them down. I have to repeat them. If I don't, you're going to miss the point of what it's talking about. So it is effective. Aximus, thanks Aximus for joining the channel membership. Also, when you join the channel membership, you're not really getting anything extra in terms of, I don't want to just have it where there's a channel club, and people that join the channel membership get something that other people don't. I vowed that I would never ever do that to my subscribers because it isolates people, and some people can't afford it. So that's fine. So we're only going to, everything that you see, all the content on this channel is available to everybody. All right. There may come a point where I share only with my channel members, maybe my personal journey regarding plans that I'm currently in the process of making to be an example. So there may come a point where that may only be exclusive to channel members, but I just don't even know if I really want to do that. I just don't want to open up my personal journey too much. It's backfired on me in the past. So I'd rather just do what I do best, and that is expose the enemy and decode this stuff. Okay? So let's go in the chat here. Okay. Before they defunded our other channel, we were doing giveaways. We were giving away, I think we gave away several $1,000s over the course of the few months. We took the channel memberships and we just turned around and gave them to needy subscribers. But obviously we can't do that anymore because YouTube is trying to defund everybody, right? So that was short-lived, but many of you were able to get some assistance. I was doing $20 and $50 PayPal to different channel members who expressed a need. We gave away a lot of money to a lot of people, so that was very nice. One day, if YouTube can fix their problems and issues with basically trying to defund people they don't agree with, I would love to reinstate that program, because there are a lot of us that don't have a lot, okay? And if I am in a position to help them, or at least move resources around, because some of you are a little bit more well off than others and you want to help, and so we shift the resources around to those that are needy. We had a woman that was in her car in the dead of winter trying to stay warm, and she just needed some extra gas money. We helped her out, and many of you, others of you who are just on hard times right now. So YouTube is the one standing in the way of lots of giving and love and support to people in need, and they should be ashamed of themselves. So we're going to keep trying, though. We're not going to give up. Okay, let's go into the chat here. All right. Now, tomorrow's show is going to be off the rails, Because what I believe they're trying to mimic and reenact during what we're going through right now is the temptations of Christ. You remember the bread meme? Everyone's baking bread now? Well, that's turning bread or a stone into bread. One of the temptations of Christ. He was in the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights. That is 2020, the year we're in right now. And the mountain that he was up where he was tempted is called Mount Quarantine. Basically, Jesus was on quarantine, and they're putting us through everything he went through. We're going to do that on tomorrow's show. We're going to get deep into the Bible and cover all that. And then day after tomorrow, we're going to talk about how they basically co-opted. Thanks, Rhea. I really appreciate your channel membership. We're going to talk about how they co-opted a movement in which we were starting to gain momentum and opening people's eyes to the whole CV thing. And people were starting to wake up. They were starting to go out into the streets and talk about this. They were basically defying the orders. And just as soon as that started to happen, as soon as the momentum was starting to shift in people's favor, as the weather was starting to warm, and all this, people were exercising their rights to carry self-defense mechanisms. As soon as all that started, we got hit with this. GMF. And for those that don't know what that acronym stands for, please help in the chat. I really like, actually, we're going to turn everything back around against them. Because in our coding, what does that do? It increases communication between you all, right? You're helping each other. And that's positive energy. That's what we're supposed to be doing. So we're all coming together to help each other understand what we're all talking about. So, GMF came along and derailed all that positive momentum that was starting to wake up. People were starting to go, there's something wrong here. But what they did with the GMF debacle is that this was wave 2 of the assault on the small businesses. Wave 1 was CV. Wave 2 was GMF. Right? Who's been suffering from all this? Small businesses. Who's been profiting from all this? Large businesses like Amazon. And all of the large businesses that got these handouts, right? This subsidy got bailed out. There's something very, very wrong going on here. Very, very wrong. So, for those of you that don't know what GMF stands for, the middle letter, the middle acronym is very important. And this is his son's middle name. And it sheds some light as to what possibly could have happened. All right, let's go back into the chat. Someone's asking, what's GMF? Please, somebody. Oh, I can type it in here. Okay. Got Dr. Savage on the mod. Dr. Savage, very good channel. Go check him out. A lot of good work there. Okay. Just reading in the chat here. Just so happens that if you go to, I'm going to type it in here, which is what GMF was part of. If you go to their FB page, you'll find GMF Productions. I think we all know what that stands for now. And the date that that Facebook page was created was 4 years ago. Unbelievable. YouTube is shutting down anyone talking about the history of this man, talking about the truth about it, right? Because they want this thing to do what it's doing. They want exactly everything that's happening now is what they want to have happen. So, that's where we're at with that. You guys have any questions before we pop off of here today? Continue the show tomorrow. Be back here bright and early tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks, Betty. Thanks, Rhea, Susie, Able Bodied, Mr. Virtue, Rebecca, Sean, and everybody else that's joined the show this morning. Private Beautiful, Prince, Just a Girl, Holly, Heart, Truth. The veil has been torn. Michael. You know, there's going to come a time where all of this is going to backfire, but in the end, they don't care. They don't care because they're going to have the control in place that they need. People can try to unplug, and they will. Thanks to you too, Vale. Angel at his feet. All right. Yeah, the RoboCop thing, pretty wild. What video do I talk all about GMF? We did a live show last week, so you're gonna look back through my live shows last week, and you'll see it. I think the thumbnail actually shows the Facebook page. Now, a lot of people were talking about, taking away the money from the cops. You guys, that's not the answer. The answer is holding each officer accountable, okay? And so, it's interesting because a lot of channels talked about Andrew Arkey, okay? But now, all of a sudden, they're kind of silent on it. Because you would think that defunding these departments of the police would be what they wanted, right? But actually, that's not the answer. The answer is to take away the exemption of being prosecuted, okay? Because that's what the police officers enjoy now, okay? All you got to do is take that away and make it so that they can get fired for something clearly caught on videotape. That needs to happen today. That's what these people should be asking for in the streets. They should be asking for that today. Not to completely defund. Yeah, ratchet down. Because many of these departments are overinflated. The whole system needs to be looked at. They're being paid way too much at the senior level. Many of these guys well into the six figures. With retirement almost at full pay. That should not be allowed. And the whole system needs to be restructured. That's what needs to happen if we want to think logically about this. Okay? And when an officer goes out on the beat, they should all have cameras. Maybe that should be something that they have too. Like they all have cameras. Maybe make that a requirement. Where is the common sense in everything that's happening right now? People need to take a step back and stop thinking emotionally and think about common sense solutions. Make them have a camera. And now from now on, when you see something clearly on camera, there should be the review shouldn't go through the court system. It should go through someone else. It should go through the people that live in that community, right? Shouldn't the people in that community who be on some kind of, I don't know, if you want to call it a tribunal or something, and review these cases? They're the ones that live there. I don't see any politicians or anyone talking about real solutions to this problem. The ones that would make an immediate impact. Trump, if you want to pass an executive order, if you want to gain points with the black community, why don't you start talking about stuff like that? Do an executive order that says, look, we're taking away immunity for cops, okay? No more of that. Number two, I'm going to pass an order that says, instead of buying all these ventilators, why don't you buy cameras for every single cop for every police department? I think that everybody would much rather have that than a bunch of ventilators that nobody's going to use. That we spend how many millions and billions of dollars do we spend on ventilators with the executive order? Okay, so get cops cameras, okay? Somebody do the math for me. Somebody do the math. How many cops are there in the United States? How many don't have cameras? How many would we have to buy? Okay? Then, when you see something on film, obviously, hello, there's no way that officer should get off. Have someone review the entire case, have witnesses, bring all the witnesses that were present at the scene. They should be part of the process. This is what I saw. And then there's justice. That's all that people are asking for. Just justice. That's all. Okay, regardless of GMF's background, we all know he was a criminal. He did not deserve, if in fact he did, DIE, if he did, and that was real, then he did not deserve that, regardless of his background. So obviously, at the least, it should be a slam dunk. That officer, slam dunk, should be in prison for life. At the least. At the worst, death penalty, but I don't think that's going to happen. Jail for life, lose your job. And those who assisted him and did nothing, that should also be just a blanket thing. If you are standing next to a person that you see doing a crime, well, look, we have the same laws and rules. Don't they put those laws and rules on us? Like people in the medical profession, if you see something happening and you don't report it, then you can get in trouble. Why doesn't the same apply for cops? Right? So, you're standing there watching something go down that is unlawful. If you don't do something, you are partially responsible. So, all those guys should lose their jobs, at the least. I'm not sure if I would tag, the death on them, but at least they should lose their jobs and their pensions. That would send a message to the rest of the police in the country. And that would solve the problem immediately. It would diffuse the situation because black people would know something's getting done. It would hold police departments to account. And that would be the end of this. But notice how everybody's dancing on this line. They're playing to their base with little comments to incite, the different colors of people. It's clear what's happening here. It's very, very clear. All right, so let's go back in the chat. Whoever asked that question, that was a great question. I don't even know if that was a question or I was just talking. Okay. Very common sense solutions that could be happening. Yeah, I'm getting a little worked up. It's just, the reason why I get worked up is because all this stuff is just common sense. But no one's saying it. No one's doing it. Our leadership has failed. They failed us. Okay. Ooh, back to the smiley face, says Michael. Who made emojis? Ooh, good question. Yeah, fake paramedics did not resuscitate GMF. Hey, Paul Panda's in the house. Good to see you. Yeah. Yeah, I agree, Sean. All right. Okay, I think we've gone long enough. We'll see you guys all in the morning. Love each and every one of you. And take care and be safe, everybody.